with the flag of sackcloth for humility. I am Mel McGinnis with another edition of the Sophie Scholl Monologue. The No Kings Rally. People have written about it. People attended it. I did. I said some of my thoughts on it last week. But in our local paper, somebody who attended and was all for the No Kings Rally, no, I shouldn't say rally. It was a protest. A protest, different from rally, because they were really protesting Donald Trump, not so much Kings. Well, in the course of what she wrote in the paper, I just want to share a few things here. As Trump attempts to assemble the largest and best-funded secret police force in the world, have you caught wind of this secret police force? I know ICE is doing their job in extricating illegal individuals who entered the country in an unlawful way. That's what ICE does. She says, in order to wage war on the enemy within. There is reason to fear that just taking part in such protests makes us potential targets. But we will not stay silent while he hacks away at our most basic rights. Now, you'd think, most basic rights, Declaration of Independence, the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Those rights we see in the First Amendment to our Constitution. Those are very basic. Well, here, the most basic rights say bodily autonomy. Bodily autonomy? What is meant by bodily autonomy? Do you think she's referring to government forcing you to wear a mask during COVID? Do you think she's referring to government issuing edicts saying that you have to stand 6 feet apart from one another? Do you think she's referring to forced vaccinations? No, I don't think so. And it's interesting, I think most of those who were at the No Kings protest would say, yeah, those things should have been enforced. No, bodily autonomy means for them the right to kill unborn children in the womb. That's what it boils down to. A euphemism for child killing in the womb. That's not a basic right, though No King said it would be. Another basic right, freedom of speech. Yeah, we agree with that. We say we have the freedom to speak. But how is President Trump hacking away at that? Oh, here's another one. The freedom to read. You mean to tell me President Trump is instituting a police force to keep you from reading such things you want to read? Where is that happening? I know what she's referring to. Inappropriate sexual conduct being introduced to elementary school-age children in government-run schools. That's what that's being used for, freedom to read. No, we think reading material should be age appropriate. And what does this sexual content have to do with educating our youth when we see reading scores, math scores continuing to slide in government-run education as the cost for it continue to increase? Freedom to follow science. What's that? Who is blocking a scientist from doing work? Following science, is she saying this in reference to climate change? Do we have to line up behind those who say global warming's a real thing and we better watch out or the Earth is going to come to an end at the end of 12 years, as some politicians suggest? The way we worship as we choose, she says. Yeah, you can do that. Who's interfering with that? Wasn't government interfering with that during COVID when they had churches stay closed? Well, there were more things here that were said, such as, we cannot allow welfare for billionaires in the form of massive tax breaks. Wait a minute. Isn't it their money that they earned? It's not welfare to give them a tax break. They earned it. Who are we to take it from them? For items that aren't even there in the Constitution. And that applies to all of us. Why should we be forced to fund things when they're not even delineated in the Constitution? Well, you see, what is being said by those supporters of the No Kings protest, and that's what it was, a protest. And we need to be squared away on what rights are. They're God-given, and they essentially can be summed up in what we read in our Declaration. In other words, you do not have a right to other people's money. So in a sense, you do not have a right to subsidize health care because you're forcing it from another person to pay for your health care. Yes, you should have access to health care. A person should not be impeded from it externally, but neither should you have the power to extract money from somebody else to subsidize what you want, whether it be healthcare and even food stamps or SNAP. 42 million Americans are on SNAP. There's a problem there. Now we can get into what belongs to the states, what's a matter of the federal government. SNAP has nothing to do with the federal government, though big government advocates want it to be in charge through Washington, D.C. If you're going to do anything like SNAP, it's simply a state matter that should be decided by the people of the state. But it's interesting, our governor now is blaming the Republicans, that is Governor Hochul, and she's going to try to maneuver money in the state budget to try to alleviate the concerns that are happening with regard to our recent shutdown. It is a state matter, not a federal matter. We've got our powers mixed up. And I think those No King supporters have rights mixed up, prerogatives mixed up, powers mixed up. No King supporters would have a sign that would say, no king except King Jesus. What they are is individuals who simply do what's right in their own eyes. And we know how that turned out when you read the book of Judges in the Bible. Well, with that said, I'll bring this edition to a close. And unlike Tony Kornheiser, pardon the interruption, I cannot promise you I'll do better the next time. And unlike Tony, I'm not going to wave the flag he does. I'm just going to wave the flag of sackcloth because I need to be reminded of humility. As a follower of Jesus, I need Jesus.